note, thank you. On that note, I'd like to turn to what might be the origin of all the human sapiens, and that's Africa. And we have, interestingly, Africans at both ends of the table. And in the middle, oh my God, you're taking over. It's good. George, you started today off with a very interesting discussion about the work, of course, based on Wilhelm Reich, another German, eh? And
Austrian.
Oh, Austrian, oh, excuse me, okay. The Germans and the Austrians know those distinctions better than we Americans, sorry. Would you just talk a little bit about that contribution that you're doing into this idea of the common good? David, I believe you called it the commonwealth. And this is rich material, and I think we need to become more aware of this notion of public good, common good, and commonwealth. And a lot of what you were doing was very much about self-empowerment in the domains of healing, etc. Could you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, the subtitle of my presentation was actually a breakthrough that has already happened with the orgonite. I don't know if I should really repeat the whole history. Who of you was there in the morning, 10 o'clock? Okay, it's about
isolation and how it relates to the common good. So
basically what I was explaining was that there was a scientist called Wilhelm Reich, originally a psychoanalyst who discovered the all-pervasive energy matrix, the self-organizing creative force that is opposed to the process of destruction, decomposition, death, or complementing it, in fact, more like a... He actually, I forgot to mention that in my lecture, he also talked about the spiral movement of all life that is common to galaxies, amoeba, you know, and so the universal light energy that we can harness with very simple tools called orgonite, and basically Wilhelm Reich still saw himself as an academic in the old sense. He loved to be photographed in white laboratory coats, or bent over a microscope, or you know, in these typical poses. Whereas we have taken this research to what I would call street fighting level, because you can essentially use these little things that everybody can make themselves or buy from us to change your environment on a massive scale. And our work has been to go out, and whenever we heard there was a drought, there was food insecurity prognosticated, we actually like to, on a side note, to replace, as a mind game, to replace the word prognosticated with the word planned. When we hear of famines that are prognosticated, then we are, as a mind game, replacing that word with planned, and then we take action. So, in a very simple way, as part of the breakthrough energy movement, we are not making things that put out 10 kilowatts for a household, although I'm very much in favor of having these things and having them quickly, because I believe a lot of technologies are ready to roll out, and I see that as part of the liberation. On an etheric level, this is our guerrilla ammunition here. Okay. Thanks.
Is it true that if you hurl enough of those at an electrical pylon, you disable it in some way?
No, and yes. The negative aspect of electromagnetic radiation is not the electromagnetic radiation, but the etheric field of it, or you could call it the scalar field, the standing wave, that sensitives perceive as a black cloud, and that changes its character, as proven by direct psychic perception, cloud changes, and changes in plant growth, because plant growth is the best meter for life force. You know, in absence of instruments that are yet to be constructed that can measure the etheric fields, there are attempts to do that, but they're not yet, you know, mature, I would say. In the absence of such scientific instruments, I think the health of plants is a very immediate indicator of whether you have changed the life force field in a positive way. Does that answer the question? So your watt per square centimeter, you know, in the discussion whether when I talk about the cell phone protection, which we have proven through plant growth, but your watt per square centimeter is still there, and you can still fry an egg with it. So your brain still gets half a degree hotter when you talk half an hour on the cell phone, but you're still less likely to get a headache or to get cancer over the years. Because apparently the thermic effect of electromagnetism is not the real danger. And the same is true for radioactivity, because radioactivity is essentially, in Wilhelm Reich's parlance, a door generator. It's a hard electromagnetic radiation that creates a stagnation in the ether.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And if you pull your, your bedside table, if you pull that, which at first I sort of grabbed my stomach and sort of lurched out of the room and then came back in, I understand. The reason being that Dave, Martin and I, Dave is nodding sagely here, we did indeed create a Global Energy Freedom Fund. And I believe we raised a few $1 billion, Dave, in a matter of days. And then something called Goldman Sachs got in the way of that, hand in glove with a few other characters. Nonetheless, what you were speaking about had great merit, and I'd like you to quickly, if you don't mind, synthesize that for us so we can take some questions on it.
Sure. I'll tell you, oftentimes I get the question, how did a scientist and an engineer find himself in the juxtaposition between science and spirituality? Because ultimately that's where we end up when we talk about energy, when we talk about connecting with forces out there that we're trying to transpose into useful energy here. I asked an electrical engineer friend of mine one time, we were working on a building, he was installing the conduit and wiring and switchgear, and I said, Joe, what's electricity? He said, what do you mean, what's electricity? Motors, wattage, horsepower, bigger, better, faster, more. Don't ask me what electricity is. I don't know what electricity is. We actually don't. We somehow generate them by spinning magnets through wire or the other way around, and we burn all these lights and make all this stuff happen, but we don't really know what electricity is. We've just stumbled onto a way to put lightning onto wires, and we make it work for us.
Fire, harnessed fire.
Yes, Prometheus. So when I am called in as a consultant, the first thing that I do is I step back and do a 10,000-foot view, as it were, of their business. What is it that they do? How is it that their value flows through their business, and where is the bottleneck? How to fix that? But when this is hard to do. When I back out in meditation, not 10,000 feet, but 10,000 miles from Earth, and I look back at it, I look around in the universe and I see that for 25,000 light years in every direction, there is no planet like this. There is no place where there is liquid water on the surface. There is no place with the variety of life, species that we have living in perfect balance. Well, all except one. I see that now we have 7 billion people alive on this planet. There have never been 7 billion people alive on this planet, not at one time. Many of us here have reincarnated over and over and over again on this world, and we see who controls the world. Some of us, and I think there are some in this room, are first-timers here. We're not comfortable here. We don't get what's going on here. It's unnatural to us. And that's why we're here in this room. That's why you bought tickets to come. That's why we came to speak. Because we're here to set things the way they're supposed to work in the universe. Somehow this gorgeous, beautiful planet full of variety and life has got off on the wrong track. And the planet is about to go through an amazing plane in the galaxy. It does it every, what, 26,000 years, Michael? We're going through it with it. And that's not by coincidence. We came here by design. And it is our job, our stewardship in the universe, to make sure that we can live within the energy set of this planet without killing it.
Focus of the audience at this time. Anyone want to raise any questions for any of the panelists? So.
We have a yes. Wow. Number two. Is that the fastest one?
Thank you. Well, first of all, as one of the members of this audience, I'd like to thank you, people, after these 2 splendid days. I thought yesterday evening it was already a marvelous, mind-blowing day. But again, today, I think it tripled. Yes. From my side, thank you. A big thank you to the organization as well, because the first thing I thought yesterday, why are there so few people in this small country being here for such a great event to happen? But the quality is high. And that's great. And I think we are all here with purpose, in that sense. And for me it's also great to recognize certain aspects that people like you sitting there, and also not only representing yourself, but also other great people. Also, if I look into what you have presented to us, because if I look to your marvelous presentation this afternoon with all the arts, what also I start to recognize, and also you brought it up today, the work of people refer to hard math, people like Joseph Chilton Pierce, for me heroes in the US, people like Breaktroug, which worked a lot on mind or brain coherence, whatever you want to name it. And actually that's the sense how I feel this day, the coherence, which glues actually these days together.